Welcome to another episode of Secret Archives, where forgotten legends, ancient mysteries, and the untold truths of history come to life. In today's deep dive, we explore the mythic origin, evolution, and terrifying power of one of the most enigmatic and feared beings of folklore, the vampire. But this isn't just a tale of blood and shadow. This is a story that transcends time, where a vampire, born from darkness, crosses paths with the divine, a confrontation that shakes the realms of both mortals and gods. From ancient Mesopotamian myths to modern interpretations, the vampire has evolved from demonic spirits to regal predators of the night. But what if this creature of the abyss was more than just folklore? What if its origins were tied to the divine, an exile from heaven, a challenger to celestial order? Origins in the shadows. The idea of the vampire predates medieval Europe. Ancient civilizations had their own blood-drinking spirits and demons. In Mesopotamia, there was Lilitu, a female demon who drank the blood of infants. In ancient Greece, tales of Empusai, shape-shifting female spirits who seduced and consumed men, echoed what we now call vampires. The concept of a creature that thrives on blood was deeply embedded in human fear, the fear of death, disease, and the unseen forces of the night. Vampires, in their earliest forms, were the embodiments of those fears. But in certain myths, these creatures weren't just monsters, they were fallen beings. One such legend tells of a divine being cast from the heavens for defying cosmic order. Once radiant and immortal, it was cursed to walk in eternal hunger, shunned by the sun, sustained only by the life force of mortals, thus becoming the first vampire. The rise of the vampire cults. As civilizations grew, so did the myths. In Eastern Europe, the vampire became a figure of terror and reverence. Villages practiced burial rituals to prevent the dead from rising. Stakes, garlic, iron nails, and decapitations were common to keep the vampire at bay. But alongside fear came fascination. Secret vampire cults emerged in the shadows of temples and forests. They believed the vampire was not a cursed monster, but a god in exile. They worshipped it, offered blood sacrifices, and practiced rituals to invoke its presence. These cults believed that through the vampire's blessing, they could attain immortality. The vampire's blood became a sacred relic, an elixir of eternal life. This wasn't just myth. Archaeological evidence from certain burial sites suggests cult-like vampire worship in pre-Christian Europe, a testament to the blurred lines between horror and holiness. The vampire's powers and curse. What makes a vampire so feared, beyond its hunger, is its power. Myths describe the vampire as possessing supernatural strength and speed, shape-shifting abilities, often into bats, wolves, or mist. Hypnotic charm and mind control enhance senses and immortality. But with these gifts came a heavy curse. Sunlight burns their flesh. They require blood to survive. They are bound by invitations and rituals. This duality, the divine power and the infernal curse, is what makes the vampire so compelling. A being both regal and damned, powerful and pitiful, the god of the light. Saloran. In a myth seldom told outside ancient priesthood circles, there existed a god named Saloran, the god of sunlight, purity, and judgment. He was the embodiment of divine law, the celestial flame that kept chaos at bay. Saloran's temples stood in high mountains, untouched by shadow. His followers claimed his mere presence could burn evil from existence. But when the vampire cults began to spread and grow in power, Saloran issued a divine edict. The blight must be purged. It is here that myth becomes legend, a war not between mortals and monsters, but between divine light and eternal darkness. The celestial battle, vampire versus Saloran. According to ancient scrolls hidden beneath the ruins of Athelia, there was one night when the vampire, the first of darkness, rose to challenge Saloran himself. It was not an act of vengeance, but of defiance. The vampire did not seek to destroy the light, but to prove that darkness too could endure. The battle took place in the sky above the sacred valley, where day and night collided. The heavens turned crimson as Saloran descended in radiant armor, wielding a sword of solar flame. The vampire, cloaked in shadows, summoned storms and illusions, trying to blind the god's sight. Their fight lasted for 3 days. Mountains were shattered, oceans trembled, and stars dimmed. Each strike from Saloran burned through the night, while the vampire's venomous fangs turned divine blood into shadow ichor. Eventually, neither prevailed. The god retreated to his celestial sanctum, wounded. The vampire disappeared into the night, more powerful than before. But the balance had shifted. It is said that from that battle, twilight was born, the moment where light and dark exist in harmony, however brief. Legacy of the vampire. After the divine battle, vampires were no longer seen as mere monsters. They became mythic figures, symbols of rebellion against divine order, of the forgotten and the exiled. Their stories entered royal courts, secret societies, and religious scriptures. Some rulers claimed vampire bloodlines, believing it gave them claimed the right to rule. In art and architecture, the vampire was reimagined as a tragic hero, a fallen god walking among mortals. In modern culture, the vampire continues to evolve, from horror to romanticism, from cursed to chosen. But in the echoes of ancient myth, the vampire remains a divine outcast, forever between god and demon. The hidden teachings, esoteric texts suggest that the vampire myth carries deeper symbolism. Blood equals sign, knowledge and memory. Immortality equals sign, enlightenment beyond time. Sunlight equals sign, dogmatic control of truth. To some secret societies, the vampire represents the awakening of forbidden knowledge, one that comes at a cost, but also a liberation from blind obedience. Could the vampire be a metaphor for human defiance, a symbol of the soul's struggle to exist beyond divine chains? Or was it truly a god that dared to challenge the cosmic balance? The story of the vampire is not merely one of horror and fear, it's a mythic saga of power, defiance, and transcendence. From blood-soaked altars to cosmic battles with gods, the vampire's journey reveals a deeper narrative, that even darkness has its divine purpose. What do you think? Was the vampire a cursed monster or a god misunderstood? Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and join us in the next chapter of history's most secret archives. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.